second, every moment. We've got to make it last. Touch you once, I touch you twice. I won't let go.
And you don't need to attack Democrats. And you don't need to attack Democrats. The problem we have, though, is we've had an organization that, one, has been on the wrong side of a lot of ideas. We're talking John Broy, Senator John Broy, who was an architect of George Bush's tax cuts, which have led our nation to record deficits, record debt, and a crumbling infrastructure, as we've seen in Katrina and as we've seen in Minnesota.
You can't blame the deal. Markos, I got great respect for it, but I'm not going to let you get away with blaming the Democratic Leadership Council or anything that we support, sir,
Senator
for anything.
John Broy, who was the chairman of the DLC,
right,
was the chief architect.
Sir,
Senator
for
John Broy, who was the chairman of the DLC,
right.
This is something you push.
Not of crumbling.
Well, what do you think? You're going to cut taxes and not pay for our priorities in our nation? I mean, obviously, there has to be a way to pay for these things. And to come out and say, well, we're going to cut taxes and we're going to let these deficits run up and we're going to let our infrastructure crumble, clearly it's the wrong way to go. On health care, on the war in Iraq, which you still refuse to say is a big mistake. You were on Fox News. So clearly we have a situation where you have an organization that's been on the wrong side of the issues and has failed to really build a movement, has failed to really draw popular support. And you don't need to attack Democrats.
A rebuttal from Markos this week, where else but on the DailyKos website, and you wrote the following. The DLC, Democratic Leadership Council, doesn't want a victorious Democratic Party unless such victories happen using their formula. We've been there, done that, and it simply didn't work. We as a movement, meaning the Netroots movement, sprung from those failures. We helped build this majority, the majority in Congress, not the DLC's 350 or so members. This is no longer their party, and as such, we can look forward to finally being truly competitive for years to come.
And you don't need to attack Democrats.
Let me insert here and conclude by asking you about Hillary Clinton, because it's quite striking what you have written about her in the past, going back to last year. This is what you wrote in the Washington Post about her. Hillary Clinton is part of a failed Democratic Party establishment, referring in part to her husband's leadership as well. She epitomizes the insider label of the early crowd of 2008 Democratic contenders. Senator Clinton shows no proclivity for real leadership as a lawmaker. Afraid to offend, she has limited her policy proposals to minor symbolic issues. She doesn't have a single memorable policy or legislative accomplishment to her name. Meanwhile, she remains behind the curve or downright incoherent on pressing issues such as the war in Iraq. The last thing we need is yet another Democrat afraid to stand on principle. Her advisors have stripped what personality she has, hiding it from the public. What remains is a heartless, passionless machine. Today we regard Hillary Clinton's candidacy as anything but inevitable. Her obstacles are big, and from this vantage point, possibly insurmountable.
And you don't need to attack Democrats.
For both of you, if you could advise the party's nominee to say, top 3 issues, and these are what your positions should be, what would they be?
Well, you know, you start talking about issues. What I want that candidate to do is to not be afraid to talk about who they are, to be authentic, and to tell us who they are.
Balancing budgets, creating surpluses, reducing welfare, reducing crime. First, you have to demonstrate your strength and trustworthiness on national security. You have to demonstrate that your values are squarely in the mainstream of America. And 3, you have to demonstrate as a Democrat that you can be trusted on taxes, economic, and fiscal policy.
Well, you know, you start talking about issues. What I want that candidate to do is to not be afraid to talk about who they are, to be authentic, and to tell us who they are.